I'm Amanda, also known as Shuttermonkey. Welcome to my vlog, Crafting with Shuttermonkey. Other places to find me online are Ravelry. I am Shuttermonkey Designs on there. That's where I sell my knitting and my crochet patterns. If you can get onto Ravelry, my knitting and crochet patterns are also on Love Crafts. I'm Shuttermonkey Designs on there too. You can also find me on Etsy, Shuttermonkey Designs again. I sell handmade items on there like stitch markers, handmade bags, handmade cushions, those kind of things. I'm also on Payhip, that's where I sell my quilting patterns, and you can also download any fabric requirements you need from there too. I'm on Instagram, I'm Wee Shuttermonkey on there, that's my personal account. And I'm on Facebook, I have a page on there, Shuttermonkey Designs. Today is Saturday the 10th of October. I'm in Ayrshire in the west coast of Scotland. Yesterday we had some new restrictions brought in. There's tighter restrictions across the central belt than there is across the rest of Scotland. The number of coronavirus cases seems to be rising quite quickly across the central belt, so we've got tighter restrictions in the rest of Scotland. That's Ayrshire into Lanarkshire, the Greater Glasgow area, and then across to Lothian and the Forth Valley as well. So just before the restrictions were brought in, I went a wee trip to Edinburgh on Thursday. I was supposed to be going to Edinburgh on Monday to set up a competition for the SWI, but because of the previous restrictions that were brought in 2 weeks ago, that had to be postponed. But still wanted a wee trip to Edinburgh, so we did it on Thursday. It was our wedding anniversary on Thursday, so we went there for the day. It was really nice, got to sit and got to wander about. It was a lovely day, eat some ice cream, had lunch in the park. It was quite nice. I've actually taken some footage, some videos while I was there, and if they're okay, I'll pop them in at the end of this video. But I'm more concerned that I've swept about too quickly and you'll end up with motion sickness. So I'll see how they are. I might pop something in at the end of this video. Okay. So I think what we'll do, just get straight into the knitting bit right away, and I'll show you what I've been working on first. So here we go. Knitting. This is what I've been working on. I know I said I wasn't going to do any more old Shale Socks, but I couldn't resist casting these on, just a wee shorty pair for myself. So this yarn is by Debbie from down Sheepy Lane. That's the heel and toe colourway. This is Cotton Candy. And this one here is called Nerds. So I'm going to have loads of this left over, but I really like the way this is turning out. It's really pretty, isn't it? So I'm on the second sock. Hopefully that shouldn't take me too long to get those done. But I've got a wee bit of a strange request here. When Debbie was first selling it, when I saw this yarn about a year ago, she had other neon colourways. And I think there was a blue one and a green one. See if anybody else has bought them. Do you fancy swapping a wee bit? Because I'm going to have loads of this left over once I finish these socks. Would anybody fancy trading? If they've got it, I'll send you some of my pink and you can send me some blue or some green. That would be great. I'm just going to show you Debbie's ball band. You'll all know who Debbie is. But that's her ball band there with the wee sheep on it. Okay, I'm just going to pop this out the way. Oops, put it back in its wee bag. This is all living in my wee Sleeping Beauty bag. This is fabric by Heather Ross. This was leftovers from another project that I did. This is the original Far Far Away fabric. It's a linen blend and it's really nice. But that was just a couple of leftover pieces that I had, and I made it into a bag because I was going to Munich and I wanted this to come to Neuschwanstein with me, so Sleeping Beauty could visit our castle. But I'll pop that out the way just now. The other thing I've been working on knitting wise just now is my feather and fan socks. So I've got one finished. Goes quite well with that shawl, doesn't it? So got one done, and the second one's on the needles. So I'm hoping to have that finished fairly quickly. But they've turned out quite nice. Quite pleased with those. It's quite a tight pattern, so as it's knitting off the needles, it's quite tight. But then you block it out and it looks lovely. So that's Feather and Fan. I'll be releasing that as a pattern soon. These ones are my Steliac stocks. This is currently with Test Knitters, and I'm hoping to release that in a couple of weeks' time. And This one here is Helter Skelter. This was originally supposed to be Scoosh, but I changed the name because I found an easier Scoosh pattern, and this is my Scoosh shawl here. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's been on Ravelry for about 8 or 9 years. It's been knitted quite a few times, and that was what that shawl, that's what inspired these socks here. There's just a little twist on them. I don't know if you can see that, how well you'll see that. There's a little twist going round like Helter Skelter, and the two socks twist in opposite directions. Okay, and just while I remember, quite a few of you liked my wee mouse with her she's modelling the old Shale shawl. Well, her wee friend, this is Cleo, and she's modelling a smaller version of the Scoosh shawl. This was knitted with some double knitting. It's pure silk by Rowan, and it's just sometimes nice to knit a smaller version. She's got a wee unicorn dress on. She's got her wellies too. And then she's got her old Shale shawl to keep her warm, because it's getting a wee bit colder now. So there you go. You don't have to knit a full-size shawl. You can knit tiny ones for your toys too. Can you see that? Okay. So I'll show you them both together. There you go. But they're lovely, aren't they? These toys are... I've had quite a few comments about this wee mouse. You all seem to like the wee mouse. These are by Crochet-Along. But they're lovely wee toys, aren't they? They're part of a collection. I've made quite a few of these toys. The first one... Sorry, leaning in. The first one was Luna. That's the first one I made. These actually come as a kit, and they come with some felt, and they come with the Liberty fabric. I changed the Liberty fabric every time I bought the kit because I wanted to put some of my favourite Liberty fabrics in. So Luna's got this one in her ears, and she's got that in her feet as well. And you maybe recognise some of them are in this. So it's always the same Liberty fabrics I seem to use over and over again. My scraps seem to multiply in the box. So this was Luna. She's not got a skirt yet. I really need to make her skirt. When we got married 8 years ago, I made my own wedding outfit. So this wee cardigan here is knitted with the leftovers, the mohair leftovers from the wee top that I made myself. And the plan is to make her a wee skirt from the material that I have left over from my skirt from that day as well. So she will have a skirt one day, I promise. But she's quite cute. The Luna, the pattern for Luna, if anybody's interested, is in this book here. This one here. So you can get the pattern for Luna in here, and she's got quite a few outfits in here too. And then there's also this one. This is the second book from Quilting. The cat and the mouse are in this book here. And both of these books you can get in the works just now. That's a cut price bookstore in the UK. But these are both in the works just now, and they're only £5, which is quite a good deal. The company that make all the Luna Lapin stuff are called Quilting. I'm trying to see if it's on the book on the front anywhere. But they're called Quilting. And if you buy the books are quite cheap in the works. They're only £5 each. You can actually then go buy kits, a remake kit from Quilting, which will give you everything you need to make your toys. Because, for instance, the cat has wee buttons for her nose, and she's got the wee bits of elastic in her. Here, you'll get the felt, you get all the wee bits of Liberty. As I say, I changed mine and put different Liberty fabric in, but it comes with a wee bit of Liberty as well. And you get all the joints needed to join the limbs on. You get the thread, the matching thread, you get the fabric as well. So everything's there to make your toy, and it's called a remake kit. If I remember, I'll try and link it below, because it's cheaper to buy the remake kit than it is to buy everything. I can't remember if the stuffing comes with the remake kit. You can get stuffing in most of your local craft shops if you've got somewhere close by that you can buy that kind of stuff. It's quite a good way to make them if you don't want to spend a lot of money on a kit. You can get the book in the works, and then you can just buy a remake kit. But there is a third book out. This one you can't get this in the works. This isn't cheap, but that's the third one. The first book's got Luna in it, and the second book has 4 of her friends. It has the cat, the mouse, and it has the badger and the fox. And then this one here, the newest one, this has got the squirrel and the dog, and it's also got a sheep and a deer as well. So they're quite good. They're quite good value for money, even when you have to pay full price for them. Right, anyway, back to the socks. This one here, Helter Skelter, that's been test knitted, and I'm going to get this published on Thursday. So it will be on Ravelry on Thursday the 15th of October. You can go download that. It's going to be a free download. You don't have to pay for that. I knitted my socks here with the Drops Fable. It's this colourway here. It's number 109. And I like it, but I don't feel like the stitch definition is that great with the Drops yarn. So I'm really looking forward to casting on another pair of these and trying it in a plumper yarn, because I think the stitches will stand out better in a plumper yarn. These are okay. There's nothing wrong with them, but I just think they'll be more defined in a plumper yarn. So I'm going to cast those on hopefully this week. I'll show you my yarn. And I'm going to use this yarn here. This is one that I bought last year. It's by Wee Sheep Yarns. Unfortunately, I don't think Jane's dyeing yarn anymore. But I've been saving this one for Halloween because it's called Witch's Brew. So, perfect. So I'll knit another wee pair of Helter Skelter socks. It might even just be shorty ones, but I'm going to cast on another pair of them. As soon as I've got the old Shale one off the needles, I'll do that. So that's my next cast on. What else do I have to... I'll just pop this out the way. What else do I have to talk about knitting wise? Oh, the next pair of socks that I'm looking for test knitters for is these ones here. This is my Fankle socks, and these were inspired by my Fankle shawl. This is a lace and cable design. It's really straightforward to do. It's not complicated. If anybody would like to test knit this pattern, I'll put details below how you can contact me. There'll be a link to Ravelry, the discussion thread on Ravelry, or you could email me, okay? But I'm looking for test knitters for this one, and hopefully, all going well, I'll get this released in a month's time. I was actually counting up all the sock patterns that I have and at different stages of production just now. And you know, I've got enough sock patterns. If I release one every 2 weeks, it'll take me to the end of March to release them all. Some of them I've only got one sock done. I've still to knit the second one. That's not because I suffer from second sock syndrome. It's just because I like to, the way I do it is I knit one sock and then I write the pattern up, and then I go back, and rather than it's just me scribbled down notes that I've jotted down when I do the first one, I write up my pattern, get it written properly that other people would understand, and then I knit my second sock from my pattern try just to see if there's any mistakes or anything that I've missed out. So I've got a lot of socks sitting about waiting for a pattern to be written up so I can get the second sock knitted. Just while we're on socks, the Helter Skelter sock pattern, when it comes out on Thursday, just remember that this is guidelines. You don't have to follow this to the letter. It's a 1x1 twisted cuff, but if you don't want a twisted cuff, you can redo yours and have just a regular 1x1 cuff. You can have a 2x2 cuff if that's what you prefer. The pattern as well is 64 stitches. It's a medium size sock only. So if you want to do this in 72 stitches, it's really easy. It's just a 4-stitch pattern repeat, so you can increase it to 72 stitches if you have to. That'll be really straightforward for you. It's a slip stitch heel. I got it right this time. Last time when I was talking about old Shale, I called it a cuff, didn't I? You've just got your regular, pick up your stitches down your gusset. Pick up your stitches down your gusset, decrease down the gusset, and then you're going to work your foot down to your toe, and it's just a rounded toe again and Kitchener stitch to join your toe stitches together right at the end. I'll tell you many rows to do for your heel, where you should stop for your toe, but if you've got a different toe or you've got a different cuff that you like to do, or a different heel, put in your own heel and adapt it to suit yourself, okay? I don't want you thinking that you have to stick to this religiously. It's there, the pattern's there, you adapt it to suit yourself. And you can also, the pattern's written for 3 double pointed needles. That's aimed more for beginners. If you're new to sock knitting and you're adventurous and you're confident you want to try a sock, you can. And I'm trying to talk you through stage by stage to tell you exactly what to do. If you knit on circulars, or you prefer to knit on 4 double pointed needles and have the 5th one working your stitches, you can do that, it's fine. You can knit them however you like. Magic loop, you can do it with circulars with magic loop. You can do it with your shorter circulars if you want and just keep working round in a circle. It's up to you how you do it, okay? The pattern is just a guideline. It's just to give you an idea of what to do. But if you've some more experienced knitters sometimes know what they're doing and they don't have to follow that. The next thing I'm going to share with you knitting-wise today is some cushions. Now, I've just published these on Ravelry. They're hot off the press this weekend. These were some cushions that I made for a workshop, classes that I had to teach. People wanted to learn to knit. So, there we go. Hold that up. That's the first one. It's a garter stitch cushion. Okay. I've knitted this in Luna Lapin. That's the same yarn that I use to do my crochet cushions, my crochet granny square ones. They're quite local to me and I do like their yarn. So this is all garter stitch, and this wee bit here, the wee fishy on the front, this is a felted piece. It was a wee square that I knitted again from Luna Lapin, and then I felted it, I popped it in the washing machine. But if you want to do this cushion and you don't have any feltable Aran weight yarn, you could just use you could just Stellcraft Aran, you could use something that's acrylic, and you can make your cushion and you could just use a wee bit of felt, and you could cut your wee fishy or whatever wee design you like out. But it's just a wee fishy with some buttons, and at the back I tried to make it a wee bit more interesting by putting stripes on the bottom, and it's just plain at the top, and I've got some wee aquatic themed buttons across the back. So that's the garter stitch cushion. Okay, the other one is a stocking stitch cushion, but it follows the same basic, just trying to make sure I've got it in shot, peeking around here. It's just stocking stitch at the front, stripes at the back, plain at the top, and it's got some fairy tale themed buttons here at the back here. And again, Luna Lapin, and I felted those pieces here. Now see, in my washing machine, I can felt these wee squares really, really easy. They'll felt, just put them in with a pair of trainers or a pair of jeans, and they felt really easily, about 60 degrees. Some washing machines, you might have to set it a wee bit higher, put your temperature higher than that. It might need a boil wash. But mine seems to felt really easy. But everybody's different, and you may have to experiment a wee bit with that. But as I say, again, you can use acrylic, and you can just cut this out of felt, or even if you've got some nice fabric and you want to just cut that out and stitch it on, it doesn't have to be felted pieces. So that's the two of them there. The little fishy one, that's the garter stitch cushion, okay, and there you go, that's your stocking stitch one. And the wee buttons on the back of both of them, I just picked them up on eBay, but I think you can pick them up in Hobbycraft or Dunelm Mill, places like that sell themed little buttons. I've also made another one of these. I made one for my daughter. I've told you before, she likes Halloween, so I made her this one. This was just a wee picture that I printed off from online, and I made the wee felted square, and then I cut out his eyes and I stitched on his grin. But I think you'll all know that's Jack Skellington. She likes him. But I did this one stripy up and down at the back, just because Jack Skellington wears stripy trousers. This was a lot of smaller pieces in yarn, and it was all colour work and stranded together at the back. And I've got the wee Jack Skellington and Sally buttons with Zero as well on the back with her wee dog. It's Jack's dog, isn't it, Zero? So you don't have to stick to love hearts or fishies. You can do whatever you like. If your kid's got a favourite cartoon, you could do something, put something on it for them, couldn't you? Just before we finished the knitting section, I had some yarn that I was trying to give away, send off to a new home, and asked if anybody was interested, I asked them to leave a comment below. So I had 6 people that responded. So what I'll do is I've got your names written down, and I'm going to try and make sure this works. I've got a little random number generator here on my phone. So the first number that I'm going to pick is for Helen's yarn. This is Helen, Sprite 966, and this colourway is called Christmas Cheer. And then there's also the little mini to go with it, and that's from Rainbow Clouds, and the colourway is Do Not Let Her Inside. That's just a wee 10g mini skein, but it looks lovely with Helen's yarn. They go really well together. And you might be able to get a pair of shorty socks out of this. If not, just use scrappy yarn, put it into your scrap blankets. Okay, so the first number I'm going to pick, hit generate, is number 5. I don't know if you'll see how well you'll be able to see that if you can zoom in. And that's Betty Hyde. So Betty, if you could leave me a wee comment below, tell me how best to get in touch with you, and I'll send you off an email and I'll get that sent to you. I'll put your name across the screen. My apologies if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I think it's Betty, maybe it's Beat. Okay, and the second lot, the second bundle was for the wee mini ones. Okay, all these wee mini skeins, just wee leftovers and some Drops Delight from my Steliac socks. Okay, and I'm going to hit this again. Hope I don't muck it up. Number 1. And, oh, I should probably show you that, shouldn't I? Number 1. Can you see that? And that's Teresa Bell. So Teresa, if you let me know the best way to contact you, is so I can get your address details off you and send them to you. And I'll get them in the post to you too. Now, what I'm going to do with both of these, I'll put them into a plastic bag and I'll seal them in plastic, okay? Because I know the coronavirus cases are rising and maybe people are a wee bit concerned about that. So what I'll do is I'll pop these into plastic bags before I put them in an envelope. And then that way when they arrive, if you want, you can just unwrap the envelope and you can disinfect the plastic bag inside and leave it aside if you want for a wee while. I think that's all I've got to talk about knitting wise today, so I'll move on to the next section now, okay? Crochet. I've been working on my granny squares, putting them together for my little crochet top over the past couple of weeks, and I'm going to hold that up and show you now. This is how she's looking so far. Now I've added an extra row of granny squares all the way around, so it's 3 high at the front and then it's 4 high at the back, and I've made a wee start on the skirt, that skirt piece for the bottom. I'm quite pleased with how it's looking so far. I haven't attached at the back here, I haven't attached my straps. I tried it on and I feel that there's only one square here at the armhole. I just feel that was a wee bit tight. So I may move the straps over one square and start them here. I just think that might fit me better. It looks fine, there's nothing wrong with the pattern, it's just that I think it's a better fit for me if I move over once. So I hadn't joined them at the back, I was trying it on first to see what I thought of it. But I think that'll work better for me. And the only thing is, if I move it over one, those 2 squares are the same. So I'm going to have to rearrange my straps ever so slightly. But I don't have to worry about that just now. I can go on with the skirt and I can adjust my straps later once I know how it's fitting. But that's how it's looking so far. And as I say, I've made a wee start on the skirt bits. It's quite nice, rather than keeping changing colours all the time, it's quite nice to just be on this wee shell edging. So hopefully the next time I come on to vlog, I'll have a good bit of that skirt done and it'll be almost finished. I've not even made a start on all those ends, but I'll get there. Could do that in November, couldn't I? Have a little sew in the ends along. But that's how that's looking. I'm really pleased with it so far. But loving the colours as well. I really like pink and grey. I don't know if you've noticed that watching my vlogs, but I really like pink and grey. So I did try it on my mannequin this morning just before I was coming on to video this vlog, and I thought maybe it was just me, but the straps kept slipping off her shoulders, and I thought, yeah, I really do need to adjust where the front of the straps are. But I'll do that for next time, and I'll go on with that skirt piece and I'll let you see it next time. Hopefully it'll have grown. And I'm actually using a 3.5mm hook for this, and I'm using this Sublime Egyptian cotton. It's lovely to work with, really, really nice. It was difficult to find in the colours that I wanted because it's a discontinued yarn, and trying to find it online, it wasn't easy, but I did manage to find the colours that I wanted because I wanted pink and grey, so quite pleased with how that's coming along. And the only other thing I've got to show you crochet wise is this. Look at him. He's a wee ugly duckling. So actually he's a cygnet, isn't he? Not an ugly duckling. but there we go. He's a Toft. He's a Toft creation, and he's just one of the wee mini birds. Toft released a new book on the 1st of October. This one here, the 12 Birds of Christmas. There's patterns to make, 12 different birds that go along with the 12 Days of Christmas song. And it's a really good book, but I'm going to say that because I love Toft. But if you have a wee look for that online, there's a lot of good patterns in there for their birds. If you buy it from Amazon or online from any other bookseller, it's probably going to be a wee bit cheaper than it is direct from Toft. But if you buy it direct from Toft, they send you a PDF to make 12 mini birds. So that's where the wee baby one comes from. And all the birds that are in here, there's miniature versions of all of them. There's a full-size bird here. This is a robin. And this is the mini bird. And most of them they match, the mini matches the big one. But this is the baby swan. And it does look like a cygnet rather than looking just like a miniature swan. And I really like that one. That's why I started off with him. I like the ugly duckling. So there he is. But I'm hoping to make these, all 12 of them before Christmas. So if I do one a week, I did him last week, so if I do one a week, I should have all of them done for Christmas. But we'll see how that goes. I might finish my crochet top first and then concentrate on those. But I'll start from number 1. The first one's a partridge. So I'll go back and I'll do him. And I'll work with, he was number 7, I think. Yeah. But I loved him. Had to do him first. Look at his wee tail. Look at his wee tail. And his wee feet. Nothing ugly about him, is it? No. Right, anyway, I'll put him away. And that's all I've got to show you crochet wise. So we'll move on to the next section, which is patchwork and quilting. How are you all getting on with your real fence quilts? I've not layered mine up and quilted it yet. It's still here, just sitting as a quilt top. And I've got my backing. I haven't layered it up yet because I realised I don't have enough of this. I've only got a metre. And I need 1 1/4 metres, so I've bought an extra wee bit of patch. I've bought an extra wee bit of fabric that I can piece in with this, just make that back piece a wee bit longer. So I'm going to get that done this weekend, and then I'll video a tutorial of how I'm doing it, and I'll get that up as soon as I can. Hopefully it'll be there by next weekend if you need that tutorial to go on with yours. But that's how mine's is looking still, just like this. But do you remember the last time I showed you I had that big long strip left over? I think you only need 1 square out of your final strip. It's a bigger bit, your 4 pieces all together. And I had 1 big long strip left over. Well, what I did was unpicked between the purple and the orange. And then I trimmed those 2 strips down to 1.5 inches high each, rather than them being the 2 inches. And then I joined it all back together. So it had smaller strips than the quilt. I'll try and hold this up and show you the difference in size, make sure I'm getting them round the right way. Where have we? See, there's one of your blocks there, and this one's smaller. So I only had that 1 wee bit left, and I had a wee bit off the top as well, just when I finished cutting all my 2-inch strips. I had bits that were just over 1.5, so I was able to cut another 1.5-inch strip from each of my colours. I resized the bit that I had left, the 4 colours together. You'll see that in the last video if you don't know what I'm talking about, but I did show that strip last time. And I made these smaller blocks, so these are only about 4.5 inch square rather than being 6.5, because I wanted to make a bag. So here's my bag here. It's another Finch Bucket. I'm going to take the yarn out just now. I've got my Halloween yarn in there ready to wind up and cast on some socks. But there we go, that's the front of the bag. And that's the back of the bag. But I've got 4 blocks in each of these bits here. And I laid them out slightly differently. I showed you that there was alternative layouts for doing them. So I've done them like this, so there's a white cross in the middle. It's not even a cross, it's a plus sign, isn't it? And then you've got the white one here. So you've got 2 whites in the front and the blacks join at the back. So I'm quite pleased with how that turned out. And that 1/2 metre of ghost fabric that I had left lying about, that's my lining. And it's got pockets in that inside as well. This is the smallest size of the Finch Bucket. But again, mine's is a wee bit bigger, just because when I put my blocks together, my accent panel was an inch bigger. But I'm really liking this bag. It's been sitting about all week long. I had it made, but I didn't have the cord. It just arrived this morning, which was perfect for showing you on here. So that's the little one there. That's the littlest size. And if you remember, that was the biggest size. So there they are together. But my big one is slightly bigger than the pattern as well, just going in my fabric sizes. So that's the two of them there. It's a really easy bag pattern to make. And they're a good size, you get a lot in them. You could actually start off and have a jumper in there. There's loads and loads of room. You'll get much more than a pair of socks in there, put it that way. It's really nice, and I'm glad I've used up all that fabric. Because I never throw anything out. I always keep all my leftovers and I end up with loads and loads of fabric lying about. So that's that wee one. Little Finch Bucket. And after that, I just had a wee bit of leftovers. When you're cutting your strips, you've always got the wee bits left over at the end. So I made myself a wee project, a wee notebook cover. So this is just my notebook that I keep all my details, what I'm doing for socks, and this is where I scribble down, jot down all my notes, so I know what I'm doing. And that's where I write my sock patterns up from, this wee book here. It was originally, it's got Pokemon on the front. So now it's got a nice wee cover. If I take it out of the cover, I'll be able to show you how it looks. That's the inside. It's got a wee bit of ribbon, so you can mark a page. And it's got a wee bit of ribbon here as well if you want to pop a pen in there and hold your pen in. And I've just, again, used my ghost fabric in there. And it's just an accent panel. This was all my wee bits left over from my 2-inch when I joined my 2-inch strips. When you cut the very end of it, I think you've got about 4 inches left, 4.5 inches left, which wasn't big enough because you needed roughly 6.5 inch blocks. So I kept all these wee bits and I just rearranged them, unpicked some seams and maybe moved the white down to the bottom, or just rearranged it so it would look like this, rather than throwing it all in the bin. So I'm quite pleased with that because I like these wee notebook covers. I've got another 2 of these. I've got a Little Red Riding Hood one, and I've got a Thimble Blossoms pattern I used to make this one here. These were actually books that I made when I was at patchwork and quilting classes when I was a student. The teacher, Sheila, Blue Patch Quilter, she showed us how to make these, and they're really, really handy. I use the wee books all the time. Now my notebook with all my knitting patterns and all my sock patterns has got a wee cover. So I'm just going to pop it back inside. There we go. Pop it back inside so you can see it again. And these wee markers here, they're just little paper clips. I bought these preparing for Halloween. I bought these in the summer. So I've got a couple of wee bats on there, and I've also got a wee poison apple. They're really cute, and they go well with this Halloween style fabric. So that's those. And all I've got left over from my strips is that one wee bit, which I think I'll bin that. I'll not keep that. And I've got a couple of squares from the bottom of the bag when you box the bottom of the bag. And that wee bit that I showed you before, where have I put it? That wee bit there, and that's it. So I've used up all my fabric. Great. Nothing to stick back in my stash. Oh, if anybody... Does anybody keep the wee selvage edges to use? I know some people make the quilts with it. It's like a library wall, a bookcase. So if anybody needs these I've got, it says Spectacular on them. I know some people use these for those types of quilts, so they've got words and it looks like the spine of a book. If anybody can use them, let me know. I'll pop them in the post to you. Again, I'll put them in a wee bag if you're worried about contamination or anything like that, and you can take them out in a month or two's time if you like. I know it's only the 10th of October, it might be the 12th of October by the time you see this, but I thought I would share details about the next Quilt-Along that I'm going to be hosting. That'll be in November, but I'll show you the cushion that we're going to be making, and I'll upload the fabric requirements onto PayHip as well. I'll put a link below to that if anybody's interested, just so you've got time to get yourself organised and get your stuff all together. But we will be making this. Oops, I'm going to move that bag out of the way. A Christmas tree cushion. Can you see it better if I hold it back here? Again, this is something that I made to teach a patchwork and quilting class in Prestwick. Okay, and it's just Christmas tree fabric on the back. This one's in a 45cm cushion pad, but I wouldn't buy a cushion pad just yet. I would wait and see. Wait till you're finished, because you don't even have to make it into a cushion. You could make it into a wall hanging, or you could, yeah, you could make it into a wall hanging, and you could have it hanging your wee mini advent skeins of yarn, couldn't you? You could pin them on, that would be great. Or maybe you would want to make it into something bigger, or even a sack for Christmas presents or something like that. You don't have to make it, it doesn't have to be a cushion, you can adapt it to suit you. But I will put those details, the fabric requirements, I'll upload those just now so you've got those. There was another 2 cushions we made to go along with the Christmas tree one. So there was also this one. And he's just got Christmas baubles on the back. Okay, and there was also Rudolph. He's got, this is actually a plique on, it's a fake fur. No, it's not, it's fake leather. This is a fake leather fabric here for his antlers, and it's a plique on. I did try to do it that you were doing tiny, tiny patchwork, but I just couldn't get the antlers to look right. So they're a plique on, and he's got his wee skinkly red nose. And he's got his wee, just wee shiny bits on his eyes to make his eyes stand out so he doesn't look like he's dead. So that's Rudolph. And I'll just show you the snowman again. He's got the wee skinkly holly. That is, it's holly leaves, and he's got his skinkly carrot nose as well. But again, you wouldn't have to turn these into cushions. You could make them wall hangings. You could put all 3 of them together and you could make a table runner. That would be nice at Christmas, wouldn't it, all 3 together? We'll do the Christmas tree one first. And if you want to do more, if you're interested in doing more, I can put them online. Maybe in December you can make some more, okay? I'm just going to show you the Christmas tree one again to finish off. It's got a wee skinkly star on it. And it's got a wee bit of ribbon going back and forward. That was just stitched down in place on the sewing machine. And there's wee beads on at the corners. It's a wee hot stone. It's wee hot stones with glue on the back, and you stick them on. But you could put buttons on. It doesn't have to be that, or a sequin. You could do that too. Anyway, I'll leave that with you. You can mull it over, and you can tell me what you think. If you want to do the other 2 cushions later on in December, we can do that, or I'll think of something else to do in December. That's all I've got to share with you today. And if the videos from Edinburgh actually turn out okay, I'll pop them in at the end just now, okay? Thanks for watching. See you later.